Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a four-way comparison between the four Sony cameras that I currently own, and this is really intended to be a guide for those who are new to the Sony E-mount lineup to help you kind of decide which one you should get. So let's get into it. So let's start by talking about the things that all of these cameras have in common. All four of them have a 24 megapixel APS-C size sensor. In fact, the sensor is really the same. It was slightly improved with the A6300, but they all produce excellent images. All four of these cameras shoot excellent video in the XAVCS format, which is awesome. All four of them have built-in Wi-Fi so that you can transfer your photos to your phone quite easily. All four of them support shooting in RAW, and all four feature excellent autofocusing systems. All of these cameras are E-mount, so they can use the same lenses. As you can see, here is a Rokinon on the A5100, and here's the same lens on the A6500. All four of these cameras also use the exact same batteries. In fact, here are my extras. As you can see, I have two extra batteries for each of the cameras that I own. Now, speaking of batteries, just to throw this in, I have been using the Wasabi power battery charger. This is a single battery charger that just plugs into a wall outlet. I have recently started using the RAV Power dual charger with a plug-in here. And this is awesome. So you can charge two batteries at the same time. It's really fast, shows you which one is charged. So definitely recommend checking this out if you guys are looking for batteries and a battery charger. I'll post a link down below. All four of these cameras are compact, easy to use, well built, and they're perfect for travel, doing YouTube, and really professional work as well. Let's talk about some of the differences. Now, every single subsequent model has improved on the previous model. As you would expect, Sony has taken its time, and with each generation of camera, they've made slight improvements. So we're going to start with the A5100, as it's a bit of an odd one in this group. So the A5100 is the smallest camera here, and it's the only one without a hot shoe and without a viewfinder. The other cameras have electronic viewfinders. The A5100 does not. However, the party trick of the A5100 is a flip-up screen that none of the other cameras has. This flip-up screen is also touchscreen, so you can use it to tell the camera where you would like it to focus. When you look at the menu system, it has a more basic interface, fewer buttons, less things to mess around with as compared to the other cameras here. However, it does make it easy to use. If you're wanting to shoot fast action, this camera only does 6 frames per second. You can hear that these three cameras are about twice as fast as the A5100. Video quality is excellent. It shoots 1080p at 60 FPS, and it, like I said before, uses that XAVCS format. This is really the camera to get if you are on a tight budget, if you want to use it for vlogging because of the flip-out screen, or if you just want a simple camera that you can pick up and use without messing with any of the settings. My wife loves this camera, and this is what she uses for all of her vlogging videos because it's small, easy to put into a purse or a pocket, and is simple to use. The next step up is the Sony A6000, and what you get with this camera is a hot shoe, you get an excellent electronic viewfinder, you don't get a flip-up screen, it tilts down and then does a 90-degree angle. You do get more settings with the A6000, more things to play around with, 11 frames per second, slightly better build quality, and a more substantial body. You notice it really when you hold the two cameras in your hand. There's not much of a grip here with the A5100, it's more like a point and shoot. The A6000 has a little bit of a grip, so it is easier to handle. The A6000 really does everything you would ever want it to do, except for that it doesn't shoot 4K. It tops out at 1080p at 60 frames per second. While it has the electronic viewfinder and the excellent 179-point autofocus system from the A5100, it doesn't have a few of the added bonuses of the more expensive cameras here. It sits really right in the middle of the range. It offers excellent bang for the buck performance. And really this camera is for those who are looking for something that is a step above the simple to use A5100, but it's not intimidating. It is packed with a bunch of useful features. And if you're using a camera for YouTube videos or slightly more professional photography and videography, this is the one to get. Now the A6300 steps in and addresses a few of the things missing from the A6000. First and foremost, you now get 4K video recording up to 30 frames per second. You also get expanded 1080p video at 120 frames per second, which is awesome for slow motion. The APS-C size sensor is the same size and resolution as the one in the A6000 and A5100. It's slightly improved with some copper components, so allegedly it's better in low light. In the real world, you don't really notice it very much. In fact, when you compare 1080p footage from the A6000 and the A6300, the A6000 footage looks a little bit better. Another improvement with the A6300 is, unlike the 179 autofocus points you get with the first two cameras, Sony moved up to 425 autofocus points, more than double, and some of those are phase detection. So they do make it ever so slightly quicker when it comes to autofocusing. You don't notice it too much in the real world because we're talking about milliseconds of difference, but you do start to notice it when you use adapted lenses that are not native to the E-mount. Now the electronic viewfinder on the A6300 is improved as well. In fact, the resolution is almost doubled from the A6000. You also get a microphone input, which is very nice for recording external audio if you have a shotgun mic. You get a better built, weather-sealed magnesium alloy body instead of the composite bodies of the previous two cameras. An area where you really notice this is the E-mount itself, where the lens mounts to the camera. It's a lot more secure. There's no wiggle. With the A6000, there's a little bit of play there, so it's not as secure as these next two cameras. The A6300 also introduced picture profiles and S-Log, which are excellent additions for those who are shooting video. So this camera is for those who are looking for something that's a step up from the A6000. Really, the more that I use it, the more that I notice the improvements. It's a camera that really has it all. It can produce quite simply amazing resolution videos. So if you need 4K, if you're looking for a step up over the A6000, this is an awesome choice. So Sony came out with the A6300 in March of 2016. In November of the same year, they announced the A6500. Now this camera made even more improvements to the lineup. The biggest change was the addition of in-body image stabilization, or IBIS, which means that the sensor inside of the camera moves to compensate for camera shake. And this is a 5-axis image stabilizer, which is awesome if you are using non-native or non-stabilized lenses. The kit lens that I have on this camera, it already has optical steady shot, so it doesn't really apply. But if you take a lens like the Rokinon 21, which has no optical stabilization, and you put it on the A6000, it does help reduce a little bit of that shutter and shakiness from your video. The second big improvement is, while the camera still shoots at 11 frames per second, just like the A6300, what is improved is the buffer. So with the A6500, you can shoot non-stop for a total of about 307 images, which means you can literally be shooting non-stop a lot longer than you could be with the A6300. If you're shooting sports photography somewhere where you have to hold the shutter down just to capture that moment that's just a millisecond over the course of a couple of seconds, this is the camera that can get the job done. The electronic viewfinder and the screen remain the same, but what Sony did is they added a touch screen to the A6500 so that you can use it to select where the camera focuses. Another new feature is the S and Q modes, or slow and quick modes in video, which allow you to record slow motion and quick motion. Now the menu system, as you can see here, is redesigned with some colors. so it makes finding settings a bit easier, but I found that there are a lot more settings to go through, so that's pretty relative. I mean, we're talking pages and pages and pages of settings within each of these tabs. The last thing is the A6500 has a more durable shutter release that was apparently tested to 200,000 plus cycles. Also, the improved grip, it is noticeably larger for those of you who have larger hands. So a couple of practical things that I'll mention about the A6500. The touchscreen, I disabled. It was getting super annoying because you put your eye up to the viewfinder, your cheek touches the screen, it focuses on some point on the screen, and then you have to click a little box to close out the touch screen because it just locks onto focus. Anyway, I am sure that there are people out there that use the touch screen on the back for focusing and it works well. In my personal case, it just didn't. Second thing is there is a noticeable reduction in battery life. I'm not gonna say it's like 20% worse, but at least 10 to 15% less battery life in this A6500 in comparison to the A6300. So always carry extra batteries. But beyond that, the A6500 is truly an amazing camera. Yes, it's pricey. For someone who is just starting out, this camera might be overkill. It honestly might have too many features, but in the right hands, the video that you can produce with this thing is quite staggering. Now, the biggest problem with Sony cameras is overheating. So it's important to understand that with each generation, Sony did improve the overheating issue. I personally don't record super long videos, 25 minutes at the most, so I've never really had overheating affect me negatively. But if you are worried about it, the A6500 is the best camera here that doesn't suffer from it as much. A6300 does better than the A6000, and the A6000 does better than the A5100. My guess is the size of the body has a lot to do with it. If you are recording for longer periods of time, it is recommended to open up the back of the screen like this to allow some dissipation of heat from the back of the camera. So those are the four cameras side by side. The decision as to which one to get for you really has to come down to two things. Number one, what features do you need? And number two, what's your budget? So to recap, the A5100 is perfect for those who are going to be vlogging. They want a basic, easy to use camera. It's inexpensive. The A6000 is slightly more professional. It has a viewfinder, it has a hot shoe. It really is a 1080p workhorse. The A6300 is a bit more cinematic, so if you are shooting 4K video, this is the one to get. It has slightly better autofocus, a better viewfinder, picture profiles, and if you're using adapted lenses, this is really the one to go for. And the last one is the A6500. It does everything slightly better than all of the rest of these cameras. It is the top of the line APS-C camera from Sony. It has in-body image stabilization, the huge buffer, the touchscreen, and a ton more settings. But like I said before, it might be overkill for some people who are just casually shooting and making YouTube videos. So not much of a price difference between these two cameras. You go about double here and then another double here. That's why I really think the A6000 is still the sweet point as far as bang for the buck within this camera lineup. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something. As always, thank you for watching. Thanks for all of the subscribers out there. Thanks for all the likes and all the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.